welcome to Crime and Court. My name is Heather, and this is a bonus episode to my Canton Cover-Up, the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed series. There are several episodes if you, hopefully you've been paying attention to them as they've been coming out, because there's just so much information and so many details that are pretty important in this case, and a lot of it has to do with the framing of an innocent woman for the unaliving of John O'Keefe, a Boston police officer whose life was ended outside another Boston police officer's home, or at least he was left there until his life ended. He was left there with injuries, serious injuries, at least it appears that way. So please go back and, catch up if you haven't. And don't forget to like this video, hit the subscribe button so you get updates on everything that I'm doing, all these different topics. I love to cover wrongful convictions and cases where there's corruption and, framing from the organizations that are supposed to be there to protect and serve us. So anyways, this is the bonus episode, and we're going to go through some letters that TurtleBoy has written to some of his pen pals while he's in prison, since the stay-away order had been lifted back just before he got thrown into prison, or jail. Technically, I think he's in a county jail, but regardless, right before they arrested him for some bogus setup that happened, his stay away orders from the people that he was writing about, that got upset about what he was writing about, was lifted in Superior Court. So he is now able to talk to them directly, and he has no stay away orders against them. So this is him writing back to them. So this is kind of a fun episode. I think his snark really comes out, and sarcasm, and it's really great. Like I said in one of my episodes, I think his writing since he's been in prison has just really improved, because he's got like great content to write about now. So as to what they're doing to him. But first, before we get into the letters, I did want to dive into TurtleBoy's prison journal entry number 4, because right when I released or premiered my episode on TurtleBoy's prison diaries, he, like a day or two later, had released this episode, or part 4 of his prison journals. So I'm going to read through that first before we get to the letters, and then this is going to be a 2-part episode, just because there's a lot that TurtleBoy has to say now that his stay away orders have been lifted. But first, all right, so here is Canton Cover-Up Part 289, TurtleBoy's Prison Journals Part 4. TurtleBoy Gets Deep. Today is my 45th day in jail. Oh, sorry, this was written 5 days ago from the 13th. So, I don't know. A little over a week ago. Today's what? The 16th, the 13th. Yeah, so a week and a half ago. All right, sorry. All right, so today is my 45th day in jail, and one of the most anxiety-inducing. I'm writing part 4 of my prison journal today, primarily so the day will go by faster. If I don't find something to occupy my mind, all I will think about is the elephant in the room, our appeal to the SJC that is currently under advisement. So that he's talking about appealing all of this, because his First Amendment rights have been violated, as well as his freedom to walk free on this earth. He's been put behind bars for no apparent reason other than they want to silence his message. So 17 days ago from when he wrote this, my attorney filed a 17-page petition with the state's highest court, asking them to reduce my bail revocation from 90 to 60 days, undo the bail revocation entirely, return my phones and computer, restore my First Amendment rights completely, and have the entire 16-count indictment reviewed by the full 7-justice appeal. So that is what they were requesting. I don't need my phones back today. I know that we will win with the indictments, and I know that eventually I will be able to publish public court documents so they can take their time on that stuff. But what I need ASAP is to know if I'm getting out of here so I can see my children, start my new life, and continue my award-winning journalism. I want to be home for the Super Bowl badly. Well, that unfortunately did not happen. He was not out before the Super Bowl. I want to be home before the Super Bowl. Every year we go to my buddy's house and drink beer, eat food, and gamble with friends. With friends he's had since he was a kid. Getting together like this is harder when people have families, so the Super Bowl is an important event that unites us all and one that I really look forward to. I also want to be out before 60 days on February 23rd. So he was supposed to have a hearing today, and from what I heard, I haven't heard anything about it happening today. At this point, yesterday I had heard on the Glares channel that it had been rescheduled for, I think, the 26th of October. So it went from the 16th to the 26th, but he also has a hearing on the 23rd. So I don't know why they would move it then. But that's what I heard. I don't know how accurate that is. Okay. So anyways, but he is technically free, or should be released on the 23rd because that would be his 60 days, which has been reduced to, since originally it was 90 days in district court, but as it went up to Superior Court, they reduced it to 60 because that's their requirement. All right, so he also wants to be out before February 23rd because there are a lot of important court dates coming up that I would like to attend as a free man, including the one yesterday that was Karen Reed hearing. All right, so there is a world of difference between showing up to court in chains and showing up to court on my own accord, in a fresh new suit with the American flag behind me, holding a press conference on the courthouse steps. I don't mind the chains that much since they highlight the outrageousness of what is happening. Everyone knows I am not a dangerous person. They know I never threatened, assaulted, or intimidated anyone. They know that I'm a law-abiding citizen being imprisoned by the same corrupt government agents I've been exposing. The idea that I should be in shackles like accused murderer Brian Walsh when he enters the same court is ridiculous. So Brian Walsh is accused of unaliving his wife. But until you see it, it's hard to comprehend the injustice. There are 4 court dates. In the next 2 weeks, I will either attend as a prisoner or a free man. So February 12th in Leominster District Court, KP, and I don't like saying that term, but his arch nemesis, KP, criminal complaint hearing for witness intimidation and trespassing. In several videos, she threatened me with physical violence if I attended a court proceeding in which I was a witness or made it known that I'd be attending. At her January 6th, 2023 court hearing in West Roxbury for violating a restraining order against a woman she was stalking for being a friend of mine, she followed through on the threat by bringing her boyfriend Andrew Johnson to court, who proceeded to assault me on video. All right. And then I believe he got video of that. I don't recall that. But you guys can go back to this. What are we on? 289. Sorry, this is 289. You can go back to his prison diary, part 4, and go view the assault. We're not going to look at it today. So he was subsequently charged with the assault and battery and was facing charges of assaulting Kate's daughter, so KP's daughter, with a knife at the time. So her boyfriend had charges against him for assault and battery against KP's daughter. And this is the guy that KP was dating, and she was sending the boyfriend to go assault Aiden in court and was threatening this other woman that just associated with Aiden. All right, so Holden police also charged her with trespassing for coming to my house on July 22nd while I was hosting a peaceful protest in Canton, leaving a threatening note for the mother of my children and photographing herself in my driveway. We went through that. We showed the pictures of that from it must have been like the prison diaries or something. I can't remember. But in a previous episode, we went through that. All right, so a magistrate will decide Monday. So this was then if charges will be filed. February 15th, it's Karen Reed's court date in Norfolk Superior County. That just happened yesterday. I'm recording this on the 16th. So basically, the only big thing that came out of it was both sides want to delay the trial date, which is March 12th, which is right around the corner, but they are awaiting the federal probe investigation information, the data that's being dumped from the federal agents' investigation. And then they also have discovery that the defense just received from the prosecution, and they are going to be doing some more testing and waiting for results on that. So it's going to take some time. Both sides agree that they want to delay the trial. The judge denied it at this point. She said she's going to wait until more information and all the outstanding, because there was a few more outstanding things. She's waiting for that to come in before she makes a decision on moving it. And the other thing, the big thing that came from that is that David Yannetti said that he had received an email just the night before he went to court, so the 14th, right around like 9 o'clock at night, saying something that they will be dropping information very shortly. So we will be hearing from the feds any day now. There will be information put out about the investigation, and whatever becomes available to the public, I will definitely share with you guys once we get it. I'm sure it will be big news. So that was pretty much it from the hearing at Karen Reed's hearing yesterday. However, I don't know if Aiden was able to even attend, but I'm sure he was able to see it later, because he does have access to video on they all have iPads in prison. All right, so February 16th was supposed to be his pre-trial conference date in Norfolk Superior, but as I said, I believe that has been postponed to the 26th of February. And February 20th is Andrew Johnson's trial in West Roxbury, in which he is a victim and a witness. So we'll see if he's able to go to that. And that's the boyfriend, right? Andrew Johnson is the boyfriend who has other charges on him for assault and battery for the daughter. All right, so obviously I would much rather attend these proceedings as a free man, but mentally I am preparing that I won't be free. That way I won't be devastated if it doesn't go my way. Worst case scenario, I spend 2 more weeks in jail, which I could do in my sleep at this point. So yeah, he had about 2 more weeks at this point. And right now, he has 1 week from today. He should be released. All right, so nevertheless, I'd be ecstatic to get out. This has been the longest 45 days of my life, and I've almost forgot what it feels like to not be in here. I miss seeing my kids every day, driving a car, being able to use a phone without typing in a 9-digit PIN. That would be annoying. Having unmonitored calls that don't end after 15 minutes. That would also be annoying. Texting, sending videos, eating what I choose, sleeping on a mattress, having a pillow. So he doesn't even have a pillow there? Or maybe the pillow there just doesn't even qualify as a pillow because it's so bad. watching TV, watching YouTube streams, reading online comments, doing the live shows. I can't wait for his live shows to come back. I can't wait for his first live show when he comes back. It's going to be awesome. Epic. I'll say it'll be epic. So having privacy, not being filmed in the bathroom. Yeah, that would be awful. Wearing whatever clothes I want, going to the gym, running streets instead of circles, and so much more. These are the little things you don't realize how much you enjoy until they are taken away from you. My daily routine remains the same. At morning recess, I run 6 to 8 miles, talk to my kids before they get on the bus, shower, shave, drink coffee, and watch SportsCenter. Then I go back to my cell in the medical unit from 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Remember, he's in the medical unit, separated from everyone else, and sometimes the other patients in the unit are very, I'll say annoying, because they're screaming loud things all day long, as he's pointed out in other blogs that he's done. So he goes back to the medical unit. He eats lunch at 11 and dinner at 4 p.m. I continue to eat tons of fruits and veggies that I never ate on the outside and look forward to continuing these healthy habits after I'm released. I have an insane person next to me named Kevin Burbank. See, here he goes, talking about the insane people that are in the medical ward with him. He screams, yells, bangs his door, and calls imaginary people that R-word all night. He refuses to take his meds, so our broken system locks him in a cell 23 hours a day. It's a joke. I've also been recognized by 2 people down here as TurtleBoy. One guy is a turtle writer named Dawn's boyfriend. The other is the first transgender prisoner I've met. I was confused to see what appears to be a chick down here who immediately recognized me. It looks like a chick, has a voice of a chick, and is named Jessica. This is TurtleBoy's writing. Don't come at me, okay? All Jessica told me is that he or she is transgender. I'm confused if Jessica has, what down there. So I didn't ask because transgenderism is all just made up anyways. Again, this is TurtleBoy, not my opinions. All right, Jessica wears green, which means she or he is convicted, and told me she or he was recently kicked out of Boston jail. All I know is Jessica is from Canton and likes my stories, so Jessica is cool with me. At 6:30 p.m., I go to evening rec and do 600 step-ups and 250 push-ups. The other day, I met the first prisoner who was ever hostile to me. He had been moved down there because he had just gotten into a fight. He yelled, "F you, TurtleBoy. You wrote about my ex-girlfriend, Sarah Burke." Sarah was featured on TurtleBoy in 2017 for whoring herself out on webcams and sometimes featured her kids in her videos. That's disgusting. The crackhead denim mother was later associated with Mike Giannetti and Lindsay Gattani. That one is his ex, who he's having problems with right now too. So ratchets run together, he says. The prisoner told me that there were others that wanted to beat me up too. I told him to tell his crackhead friends to get in line, and I laughed at him for simping for his whore ex-girlfriend. I'm just reading what's on the page. All right, so the 8.5 hours I spend in my cell from 10 to 6:30 p.m. will go slowly if I don't keep my mind busy. On the outside, time flies because there's there's so much to do and not enough time. That's why I started doing my Dear John prison letters. It takes hours to write them by hand, call my turtle people up, and dictate the articles for them to type out and publish. Time has gone by a lot faster because I'm always working on something. The other thing that's made the time move quicker has been reading. I've read 2 books in here, that's cool, that have given me a lot of perspective. To Kill a Mockingbird and The Happiest Man on Earth, a New York Times bestseller written by Auschwitz survivor Eddie Jaku. That would be interesting. We read To Kill a Mockingbird in high school, but I never, or we read To Kill a Mockingbird in high school, but I never actually read a single book my teachers assigned me. I was lazy, had cliff notes, and was friends with a lot of Asian kids who let me copy their homework. Nice. This was enough for the B- I strived for. Is he in here? Oh, is he in the Asia Club? Is that TurtleBoy in the Asia Club? Yeah, he is. Alright, that's funny. Alright, so by now, as an adult, I can appreciate classic literature that 16-year-old immature TurtleBoy could not. To Kill a Mockingbird is one of the greatest novels ever published, written from the perspective of a 9-year-old Alabama girl in the 30s named Scout Finch. It's a story of injustice in the criminal justice system. Scout's father, Atticus, is a lawyer and one of the greatest literary characters ever. He is tasked with representing Tom Robinson, a deformed 25-year-old black father falsely accused of assaulting the 19-year-old, I can't say that, white woman from a poor white trash family. In reality, the woman invited Tom into her house and threw herself at him, but Tom resisted her advances. The woman's illiterate, trashy father, Bob Ewell, saw this happen, beats his daughter for kissing a black man, and told police Tom Robinson beat her. The evidence was all on Tom Robinson's side, and Atticus exposed the girl and her father to be liars on the stand. Nevertheless, all-white jury convicts Tom of the R word, and he ended up trying to escape from jail. After the trial, Bob Ewell, I don't know if I'm saying that right, vows to destroy Atticus for exposing him on the stand. He spits in his face in public, so the father of the girl, he spits in his face in public and tried to murder his 12-year-old son. But Atticus never gets upset or seeks revenge. He tells his kids that Bob is a trashy person whose pride was insulted and didn't know how to handle it. Stooping to his level meant degrading yourself. I see my own situation a lot in this book. Like Tom Robinson, I'm wrongfully accused of assault by a trashy woman, and the justice system is rigged against me. Like Bob Ewell, there are trashy internet trolls who would like to see me in pain for making them look dumb. But I must be like Atticus Finch. I must be above it all and never stoop to their level. I recognize that I'm living in an unjust society, but all I can do is continue to work to fix it. In the meantime, I must take the blows against me in stride. Eddie Jaku, so this is the other book that he was reading. Eddie Jaku lost his entire family in the Holocaust. He survived Auschwitz by being smart, conserving food and energy, and remaining optimistic. Jail is like Auschwitz, but like Eddie, I did nothing wrong to be imprisoned, and like Eddie, I find ways to make prison less awful by doing little things like the conserving mayonnaise packets so I don't have to eat tuna fish with mustard, which for some reason the jail serves it with. Ew. Alright, so like Eddie, I get by thinking about life and when I get out of here. But Eddie is the happiest man on earth, not because he survived, but because he liberated his soul. He says that other survivors who think the worst of humanity because of what they witnessed have never truly been liberated from Auschwitz. Eddie lost his entire family, but his ultimate revenge against the Nazis was being happy. He did this by getting married, having 2 sons, 4 grandkids, and 5 great-grandkids. He never forgave the regime that did that to his family, but he didn't allow them to dictate his happiness. Reading his book has changed the way I thought about people who put me in here. I will never forgive Brian Tully or Ken Mello, and I will seek justice for what they've taken from me. But for Lindsay Catani, I feel nothing but pity. She has to wake up every day an angry, broken person. Her only friends now are people who unalive Boston police officers and internet trolls who who I know she is disgusted by. She did this because she thought seeing me in pain would make her happy. She thought it would teach me a lesson that I wasn't allowed to end things with her. But if I remain angry with her and seek revenge, then I will never be truly happy and liberated from her, and I will tell the story of what she did to defend myself on charges. But I won't allow her negative energy to change who I am. My only revenge will be to be happy, successful, and full of love for others, things she will never have unless she changes who she is. I hope for her sake that she does, because she suffers from mental illness. Okay, this again, TurtleBoy's words, not mine. I hope for her sake that she does, because she suffers mental illness, and I don't think she is as purely evil as the people she surrounded herself with. There is still time for her to tell the truth and expose how Tully and Jennifer McCabe used her like trash for their own benefit. I can't even forgive Lindsay, just as Eddie can't forgive the regime, but I can control the effect that she has on me. Holding on to hate may hurt your enemies, but it hurts you more. Being happy, rich, successful, and forgetting that she even exists is the most powerful revenge there is. Hell yeah, it is. Go TurtleBoy. All right, so during the hours it took to write this journal, Justice Kafker has been reading our petition for release and drafting his response. If I don't write, then he is all I will be able to think about, and the day will drag on slowly. So we're still waiting for Kafker's response, I believe. So although I want to get out now, my real victory is that I am at peace with losing too. I pray that God gives him the wisdom to see the sham that it is. But I cannot control what he does and will not allow him to determine my happiness. Regardless of what he does, I will soon be free. This will all be a distant memory, and I will be happy because I'm surrounded with love and support. So that was his 4th prison journal entry. And I checked today, there has not been one since. But as I said, he's been busy writing his pen pals. So for that, we have a couple letters that we're going to get through. Actually, I'll show you here on the bookmarks tab. So here are some of TurtleBoy's pen pals that we will be reading letters to. So today we're going to read his letter to Brian Tully and letter to Jennifer McCabe. And then in our next part 2, we'll read the letters he wrote to Michael Morrissey, Chicken Parm Charlie, and Jill Daniels. So that's Chris. Chicken Parm Charlie is Chris Albert, if anyone does not know. So we will get through these, and if he writes any more or any more prison diaries in that time, when I record part 2, I will make sure that I add them at that point. But for today, we're just going to read through Brian Tully and Jennifer McCabe's letters, and just buckle up is all I'm going to say. They're kind of fun. All right, so Canton Cover-Up, Part 285. Dear Brian Tully, I'm just not that into you. Dear Brian, I know that you've been thinking a lot about me a lot for the last 9 months, and I wanted to let you know that although I didn't think about you as much as the other McAlbert minions, I have been thinking a lot about you lately too. Oh, that's a love letter. As you know, I've been in jail for the last 41 days, and it's given me a lot of time to reflect on our relationship, particularly your obsession with me. So I wanted to put pen to paper to examine how we got here and try to figure out why you are so drawn to me. Let's start by saying that I don't really mind jail anymore. Don't get me wrong, I did it first, so you won that round. But the war was far from over, and you spiked the ball too early. My jail time, or my time in jail, is limited and coming to an end. I don't know why my brain scrambles the words as I try to read them. So sorry. I don't know why my brain does that. Whereas my time in jail is limited and coming to an end. On the other hand, you must wake up every day in a cold sweat, not knowing what your future holds. Remember, Brian Tully is the one that really holds a grudge against TurtleBoy, who's really tried to get him locked up. Yeah. And then Ken Mello is the prosecutor too. So Ken Mello and Brian Tully are the ones that have really been pushing to get TurtleBoy behind bars for some reason. On the other hand, you must wake up every day in a cold sweat, not knowing what your future holds. I know from the questions that Lindsay told me you asked her that you live in constant fear and paranoia about whether you are being investigated by the feds. And he should feel that way because I believe they are, all of them. I can't imagine what that must feel like because, unlike you, I don't cover up the unalivings of Boston police officers by other Boston police officers. Just saying. Skeptical. I mean, that's speculation. Speculation. I don't know what word that is. Speculation. I'm speculating there. All right, so on the other hand, you could get away with this if the feds want bigger fish. On one hand, you could get away with this if the feds want bigger fish. On the other hand, you know that you helped cover up the unaliving of Boston police officer John O'Keefe. The feds just arrested some of your coworkers for getting free driveways, which I did a video on that. When that happened, it was breaking news. The feds are starting to crack down in Massachusetts on people. On corruption, I should say. I don't really like your chances. To be honest, you must suspect that you are a target, which is what led you to ask my jilted side piece those questions. I love his, he backhandedly, insults people. All right, so you know that they're not going to let you get away with this. I know that I will be out in 19 days, at the latest, an exact amount of time. So that was from when he wrote this, and now it's even less. It's 7 days from today. I know that I will be out in 19 days, maybe less than a week, but you could spend anywhere from 0 days to decades in federal prison. I think we would both agree that you and I would rather be in my position. He's getting out, and Tully might be going in for years. It must bother you to see hundreds of people show up for me at court, cheering for me like the Beatles. You know that if and when you are in my position, there will be no one there to cheer you on. You will be jeered and looked at with contempt by your fellow officers for the unforgivable sins. You desecrated the thin blue line by doing what you did to John, his family, and Karen, and covering up all of that, and framing an innocent woman, yes. All right, so Lindsay showed me text messages on January 23rd of KP saying that Jen McCabe would direct you not to subpoena Lindsay's phone. So KP, she showed me text messages of KP telling Jen McCabe. So that's KP inserting herself in this, is telling Jen McCabe that they wouldn't subpoena Lindsay's phones. And I don't know why she would have any authority to say that, or why she would know, but why is she even talking about this? If this investigation was going on, how would she even know? So what does it feel like to take your marching orders from a cop ender like her, Jen McCabe? Lindsay couldn't believe that you, a state police lieutenant, could be so easily controlled by a woman who conspired to end a fellow officer whose brother you played college football with. I took diligent notes on that during my last night of freedom, and it's all been handed over to the appropriate authorities. Yikes. So whatever took place, whatever transpired in that December 23rd encounter where TurtleBoy went to Lindsay's house and she showed him some subpoena or some court order, and he was looking at it and he was trying to help her. He took notes. He took screenshots of conversations she was having with people. She admitted that she was talking to Jen McCabe. She admitted she had called Ken Mello, and all this stuff was coming out. So he was taking these screenshots and whatnot, and she didn't want to hand over the notes, or she didn't want him to leave with the notes, and then it became an issue. Well, anyways, so he took those notes from that night and everything that he had, and he turned it over to appropriate authorities, whatever that means. So he knows something, and something's coming. All right, so jail for me is just an inconvenience. Norfolk County is the richest in Massachusetts, so this is probably the best jail to go to. The hardest cities are Quincy and Randolph, and I'm not exactly worried about the Wellesley or Medway Mafia. Oops. All right, so jail for you, Brian Tully, if you go, will be much different. You won't get hundreds of supportive messages a day to lift your spirits like I do. You won't be able to communicate with your kids like I can. Your canteen won't be filled like mine is. You won't have your comfortable job to go back to, and when you get out. If and when you get out. But me, I'm going to be rich and famous, and it's largely due to your weak, incompetent attempt to incarcerate me. I told you this was fun to read. All right. I have documentarians reaching out to me and reporters from national publications looking to interview me. I have publishers in my inbox asking about book deals. I will be able to hold live events and parties that will sell out in minutes. They do entire segments about me on Court TV. As Karen Reed becomes famous, so will I. And it's all because of you. None of this would have happened if you didn't have me arrested and charged. And true. It's absolutely true. If he didn't make TurtleBoy the story, then I don't think this would have happened. Hell, you may single-handedly get the witness intimidation statute overturned because of their horrible abuse of power because of it. Your abuse of government power has made headlines and will be used as a catalyst for reform, and I absolutely hope it is. Thank you for being so transparently corrupt for the world to see. I'd also like to thank you and Michael Morrissey for putting your full faith in Ken Mello to have me tried. I'm sure it was hard to find someone stupid, corrupt, and desperate enough for work to take on such a losing case. I know that over a dozen honorable attorneys passed on it. Who in their right mind would ever agree to try a popular award-winning journalist on such flimsy charges? Peaceful protests and YouTube comments. Good luck with that. It might be frustrating to watch Ken Mello do his thing. He wore the plaid suit again? ? Must be something you ask yourself at every court date. At my arraignment, he said, I made $5 million. That should have been a sign that you hitched your train to the wrong wagon. Then there was the time that he showed up to court without a response to our motion. I believe he did that twice now. And had to be talked out of winging it by Judge Krupp. Or when Krupp asked him what authority he had to put stay-away orders in place, and Mello looked around like he wanted to phone a friend. Or when Mello showed up to the Dedham District Court without mandatory discovery on January 25th. Or when he told Judge Squires Lee he couldn't bring the whole internet to the court. And he got tongue-lashed for not bringing any evidence. That must have inspired your confidence in him. And then there's Ken Mello riding his bike to the court with the internet in his hand. But my personal favorite is how Mello didn't even respond to our SJC petition to release me from jail before the 60 days. See, he has a habit of that. What's your plan? Ask for 10 points off if you pass it in late. Our argument for release is that I'm not dangerous and Mello didn't respond to it. How's that going to look to Justice Kafker. If I was a dangerous person, surely the Commonwealth would write up an opposition to my release, but Mello just didn't feel like doing it. Or so how can you expect Kafker to believe that I'm a danger to the community? Maybe you'll win anyway and I'll be here until 2:23, but if your plan is to not let the lead prosecutor speak at all, I don't like your chances in the long run. So Brian, we both know that I'm not a physical danger to you or any of the so-called witnesses. Neither is Karen. You just want us both temporarily behind bars because you know that the only thing we are a danger to is your freedom when we are free. So just having them be able to freely speak out, which they can't now because they're under court orders and things. They can't say everything that they want to say. It's hard. I mean, they don't have a gag order or anything, but they have to play strategically so that if it does go to court, they don't want to be, saying things that they regret. So they can't say a lot. They have to, kind of bide their time. So it's hard, especially Karen, she's going to trial for manslaughter. So, or no, they raised it. I'm sorry. They raised it to first degree unaliving. So it's even more than that. But anyways. So I got to be honest, though. Your obsession with me creeps me out. I know you went to Ashley Bell's house to harass her because KP told you she was an angry mistress, too. So some other girl that he was with or something. Sorry she told you to F off, but I've never even hung out with her. This led you to deal with mentally unstable lunatics like Natalie and Lindsay. It must suck that a once proud detective has to rely on psychotic witnesses with no credibility. When I first saw the charging documents, I was flattered at how much you think about me. You've spent so much time since June watching my show, spying on kids in my neighborhood, and even monitoring my phone calls. You even drove all the way to Holden to personally arrest me. It must have been a dream come true. But I gotta be honest, I'm just not that into you. I was way more into Michael Proctor, Jen McCabe, and Jill Daniels, who somehow managed to be saner than the last woman I slept with. You were just the guy who looked like a freshly circumcised male genitalia and signed off on all of Michael Proctor's false police reports. You were just an afterthought. Don't get me wrong, I knew you must be corrupt because you let all this happen. You're Proctor's boss. You knew that he lied about the close relationship with the McAlberts. It was your job to discipline him. In any other profession, the boss would come down hard on employees who broke the rules like this. But you just let it happen because you're just as corrupt as he is. And for what? To protect a punk like Proctor? Hope he was worth it. Anyway, the next couple weeks will be interesting, yet David Yannetti says the Discovery dump is supposed to be coming the first week of February. So it's the second week of February, and it should be here any minute. We're all waiting. Looks like I could be getting out of at the same time you're going in. Instead of wasting so much time on me, you probably should have figured out who was driving the Ford Edge. Just kidding. You already know who was, and so does the FBI, he says. And that's how he ends his letter to Brian Tully. Very nice. Now we're going to read Jennifer McCabe, Dear Jennifer McCabe. This is part 286, if anybody wants to go to his blog and go to it for any of the links. I haven't had time to reach out to you since the stay-away orders were lifted by Judge Krupp, so I apologize for neglecting you. I moved to your county for the last 42 days and have been busy keeping the award-winning journalism coming while living as a guest of the state. But I promise I haven't forgotten you, and I know that we will be seeing plenty of each other moving forward. I feel like we got off on the wrong foot. When I first heard about your 2:27 a.m. Google search, I tried to put myself in your shoes. How far would I go to protect a loved one from life in prison? I thought that it was a heinous thing to do, but I somewhat understood why you took whatever steps necessary to protect your family. But then I started hearing from people in Canton that you were walking around town like you did nothing wrong, always with a group of other soccer moms who somehow weren't ashamed to socialize with you in public. I've got to be honest, that rubbed me the wrong way, and I lost any empathy I had for you. It wasn't just the fact that you helped unalive a man you considered a friend, it was the fact that you were so arrogant about getting away with it that it really chapped my ass. Back to the night of January 29th, 2022, I have some questions. Did you lure John there to have him beaten? Why were you so insistent that he come to the house? When he began fighting and someone hit him in the back of the head, did any part of you contemplate calling 911? Within minutes, you were calling and texting him, suggesting that you immediately went into a cover-up mode. Were you being ordered to do so by Brian Albert? Were you scared? Were you crying? Was Sarah Levinson and Julie Nagel aware of what happened? It's a good question. All of these are great questions. I love these questions so far. And I hope it doesn't go to trial, but if it does, I hope Alan Jackson or David Unetti ask all of these questions of all of the witnesses. What did you do to calm them down if they were crying? Did you notice Ryan Nagel outside and direct Julie to tell him to go home? Did you guys talk about the unaliving on the way home or just make small talk? Did you plan on framing Karen Reed, or did you just kind of wing it after seeing her broken tail light and they just took the opportunity? I just have so many questions that I'd like you to answer. I mean you no harm. I'm just a curious person by nature, so while I have your attention, let me ask you some more questions. Why were you awake at 4:53 a.m. when Karen called after a night of drinking? She never went to bed. Why didn't you go to bed? Was Matt involved in beating John? And was he as calm as you were? When you are alone in your house, does Matt have a tendency to stare out the window at traffic, or does he just do that at parties? Why did you tell Karen to come to your house at 5 a.m. only to drive her back to John's house and jump in with Carrie, who lives close to you? Was that a delay tactic? Exactly, hoping that John would not survive in the cold and after more time had passed? How dumb did you feel the moment you searched for How Long to Die in Cold and realized what a mistake it was? Did you think to search for the same thing at 6:24? Or did you think that the search at 6:24 would make the 2:27 search disappear? Why did you voluntarily hand your phone to the DA's office? Did you think that Karen Reed would never find your deleted calls and searches? Why didn't you tell the 911 dispatcher that you were at your sister's house? Why did you call John just a man lying in the snow? What did you whisper to Nicole when you called her at 6:07 a.m. and did she say anything back? So when she was on the call, the 911 call, we can hear her calling her sister, because in it we find out in the call logs that she was calling Nicole Albert, and we can kind of hear her whispering in the background, but I'm not sure what she says, but some people speculate she might say some things like, "Are you coming out to help?" or something like that. So TurtleBoy continues, do you and Matt ever laugh at how stupid Carrie Roberts is and how lucky you were that someone as dumb as her was with you when Karen found John's body? Ouch. Do you feel gross forming Peggy's Angels, taking John's mom and niece out to dinner and remaining close to them so that they won't suspect that you helped unalive John? They have become buddies with the O'Keefes, and the O'Keefes do believe, unfortunately, the McAlberts' side, for whatever reason. And it's unfortunate that they haven't taken the time to look into the detail. I mean, I'm sure they don't want to look into the details, but doing a little research on your own, you can easily find that this case is not what it seems. Not by a long shot. Anyways, so when you and Matt get dressed for court, which, by the way, I believe Matt and Jen were at the hearing yesterday for Karen, which it's like, what nerve do you have to go there? It's ridiculous. So when you and Matt get dressed for court, do you guys laugh when you put on the Justice for JJ buttons? Do you convince yourself that you didn't end him to feel less dirty? Or are you just a sociopath? Good question. Anyways, you're a tremendous actress. I'll give you that. If I ever end someone, you'll be the first person I call to fix it. The rubbing of the shoulders in court, the fake tears you put on, and the fake smile you put on when you go out every day and pretend you're a suburban soccer mom who wouldn't ever end a man like John. Few could pull this off like you did. Not to mention that she was friends with John. Brian and Nicole got the hell out of Dodge the moment that their names came up, but not Horseface. She has no F's to give and was going to go on pretending like nothing happened. I feel like things started to go bad for us when I tried becoming friends with you. I realized I was a little forward, but I was so sad and disappointed that you ran to Stoughton District Court and told Judge Walsh you were fearing me over that. I thought you liked me because you were smiling at me while I was asking you questions outside of court. Guess not. Sorry you didn't get the order because of that pesky First Amendment. So she tried to get a protective order against Aiden, and the judge denied it because it's his First Amendment right. And he is pressed trying to get answers to a story that he is covering. But even if he wasn't pressed, we have a right to ask questions of people. It was nice seeing you in Billerica, though. I'm a high school football lacrosse fan. That was when he went to the stadium and was asking her questions, but Matt McCabe got in his face and made him leave. His ex Matt was there, and the other guys got in the way because I really wanted to hang out and talk about the unalivings that you did. I didn't see you again until October 11th at my arraignment. What a treatment that must have been for you. I noticed you were staring at me, looking big mad, while I stood there like a boss wearing a free Karen Reed sweatshirt and thinking about all the money I was going to make off of this. It must have felt so good thinking that you had finally silenced me. I'm sorry it didn't work out the way you planned, because you cannot silence us. We have a First Amendment right to speak, even from prison. Even from prison, he can tell us what's going on. All right. And boy, you sure do take a lot of vacations. I see pictures of you there all the time I'm not even going to try to Ogunquit Beach. I have no idea. Sorry for butchering that. All right, you look like you could have won the Miss Irish Potato Famine swimsuit competition. I'm glad all that killing or ending people hasn't stopped you from going out in public. Don't worry, hardly anyone recognizes you, and you should continue to enjoy your few remaining days of freedom, acting like none of this happened. There's a picture of Matt McCabe at the beach. No one wants to see that. And a picture of Jen McCabe at the beach. Again, no one wants to see that. Sorry. All right, let me tell you that Josh Levy sure does have a stick up his ass, doesn't he? What's his problem? Why can't he be cool like Brian Tully and just do what you tell him to do? Doesn't he know that you were voted best looking in the 1994 Canton High School yearbook? Things are looking up for you, though. Sure, everyone knows that you helped end a man, but at least someone nicknamed KP has your back. I know that you wouldn't normally socialize with someone who lives in squalor and lost two kids of hers to the state, but you have to take what you get. In fairness, you might be a worse mother than she is. At least she didn't implicate her daughter in unaliving by making her be Colin's getaway driver. Lindsay Gattani told me that Krusty was at your Christmas party and that you guys went out to lunch after her hearing in Stoughton on December 12th. Did you pick out her Robin Hood costume that she was wearing that day? There's KP in a Robin Hood costume, I guess. I don't know. All right. Lindsay also told me that Krusty put her on the phone with you and that you told her if you're really sorry for supporting Karen and TurtleBoy, she would tell Tully everything about me and Karen. Wow. They're just trying to get all this information on. So gross. They're trying to get everything they know or can use against TurtleBoy out of the girl that a jilted ex. So she told me that she was really turned off by the way you spoke to her, but I don't blame you for not trusting her. Offering to babysit her for free and raising money for 2 lawyers on January 8th was a good way to buy her loyalty. So that's what Jen did for Lindsay to help get her a lawyer or money for lawyers and to babysit for free. Grace, the babysitter, heard you and Krusty on speakerphone talking with Lindsay after she called you on December 26th and said she wanted to recant, but that you talked her out of it. So it's McCabe who talked the babysitter. Remember, the babysitter she was a no-show, and then she was saying she was sick and she couldn't attend, and then finally she showed up on Zoom because they weren't going to let it slide. And because she has been subpoenaed to be there, and she wouldn't tell anything. She's like, I know nothing, I saw nothing, I don't want to be part of this. So I think she was threatened. I think she was threatened by the McAlberts, honestly. She was told to recant her story and not say anything. All right, so and how pissed are you at Krusty for posting the 911 call? But I guess you had no choice but to keep playing nice with her because you don't know how to make YouTube videos on your own. Anyway, things sure seem to be heating up with the feds. Hopefully there isn't dash cam footage of you turning your back to John's body as he's wheeled into an ambulance. That would be a bad look. Don't worry though. When they arrest you for what you did, you can just say the Google search never happened. It worked with Kevin from Yellow Cottage Tales. Kevin, I don't know. And he's way smarter than the FBI. Or Kevin Reddington, who finally showed us the lie detector test that you passed in April. That might save you. Either way, I hope you enjoy your freedom while you have it. I will be out soon and can finally see what life is like behind. And you will finally see what life is like behind bars. Don't worry. You'll look as good as orange as you do in that one piece. Yeah. If you need a prison consultant, give me a call. Hope you like prison lunch and morning rec as much as I do. Bye, girl. Bye, girl, he says to Jen McCabe. So there you have it. TurtleBoy's 4th prison diary entry and his letters to his prison pen pals, Brian Tully, the detective who was behind arresting TurtleBoy and locking him up, putting him behind bars, and also Jen McCabe, who also I'm sure had a big hand in it with making Lindsay Gattani a pawn in her game to get TurtleBoy into prison because they played dirty. They played dirty. But I'm going to leave it at that. So that's, and then next time we will go through, and if he writes any more, I'll add them to the list. But for next time, we got Michael Morrissey, which is a good one. And then I haven't even read through the other two. Like I briefly read through some of them, but I've been kind of saving them up. So you get like my genuine reaction while I'm reading. So we've got Michael Morrissey, Chicken Parm, Charlie, aka Chris Albert, and then Jill Daniels. And maybe we'll get another one if he, is able to release another one while he's still in prison if he doesn't get out today, hopefully. I'm going to release this video Saturday the 17th as a bonus. So we might even have him out at this time. I'm not sure. The day is early still on Friday. So anyways, I will leave you guys there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you next time. Take care. Thanks for watching.